Kneecap, the Irish idiot band, went out on a free Palestine rampage recently and then took it all back when they got grilled for it. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Tall, the traveling clat, your favorite Zionist prince. Let's take a look at this clip from the stupidest show on the internet, the Piers Morgan Uncensored Show.
But just to be clear then, you do not have a problem with what Kneecap said in relation...
All set, shout out my brother, Nissim Black on the right over here. The best.
...to up Hamas, up Hezbollah. Is that your position?
From tariffs to market turmoil, things are looking pretty rough out there. Well, our sponsor, American Hartford Gold, has an answer.
Yeah, we're not gonna watch your sponsor, Piers Morgan, until you invite me onto the show. We're not gonna watch a single one of your sponsorships. How's that? Capiche? Capiche.
My position is I don't have a problem with them supporting anyone they want to support because that's under free speech protected.
With no accountability.
What about Israel's accountability? You want us to
stop playing whataboutery. I'm asking you specifically.
Piers, I am here as a guest, as a journalist, as someone who is a former professor at Columbia. There are people being jailed and disappeared off the streets for speech. They are being held accountable in a way that Israel has managed to evade.
Well, actually, they're being held accountable. They're actually being held accountable for harassing Jewish students, barricading them into rooms, making sure they couldn't attend, making sure they couldn't go to lectures. They were harassing the Jewish students.
Do you think that it's right to hold those people accountable and yet not hold Israeli leaders who have an ICC?
No, if you want to go after Israeli leaders. If you want to go after Israeli leaders...
Or Israeli soldiers that are committing war crimes and war crimes against humanity.
I have called for Netanyahu...
Can I ask you a question?
Ahmed, no, you can't. I'm asking the questions. I'm asking the questions. Ahmed,
it is about framing.
I'm asking the questions. It's my show. That's how it works. I've called for Netanyahu to go. I think there are some right-wing headbangers in his cabinet who should go too. I think the war has gone on way too long. I think the amount of civilian death is unacceptable. I think of all these things. I say them...
You're also a fucking idiot, Piers Morgan.
On a regular basis, okay? But I'm afraid that the debate here is about whether this band should be allowed to continue performing in America where they are publicly supporting terror groups. And at the moment, you don't want to answer that. All you want to do is keep saying, but what about the Israelis?
Give me a chance. The violent rhetoric can be problematic, but it is far less problematic than the violence we are witnessing every day. And so if we're here to talk about whether Kneecap should be held accountable, I'm simply positing, is it more of a priority for any society, any civilized society?
All right, well, it's a point of view.
Hold people accountable.
Let me bring in. All right, let me bring in the other guest.
Violent or for the daily murder of children.
If you made the point and you made it forcefully, and I respect that, that's fine. Let me bring in Nissim Black. You're an Orthodox Jew. You're a rapper. What do you feel about this?
I feel, first off, Piers, I should say, I don't know how qualified since I've only been a resident white colonizer for the last 9 years or so.
Hey! Oh, Nissim, I love you, bro. That's the first I think I've heard that on Piers Morgan. Dude, Nissim Black, you have so much respect for me, but that is next level. I love him.
I don't know how qualified since I've only been a resident white colonizer for the last 9 years or so. But I think this 100% clout chasing is no different than all the other artists, the Macklemores and all these other people who are trying to look. We're playing a game as if, I don't know what everybody else has been watching, but we're playing a game as if the media and the news has all been on Israel's side and everything's backing Israel. That's just not what I see personally. So what's actually going on is that it's more popular.
What are you watching?
Hamas, it's more popular to support all these terrorist groups. You're not really sacrificing anything. You're just only going into what the rest of the crowd is. So all of this is garbage. These guys definitely, and here's a very important point. When people say something bad about another people or group, usually you could get a laugh or two after that. When Jews start getting talked about, it leads to actionable items, violence, not allowing students to go into their class. It leads to a rise, a crazy rise in statistically and
look at the stupid look while, and I'm sorry to keep pausing, but it's important sometimes. Really pay attention. Nissim is saying such a beautiful piece about the truth of what's going on right now. Maybe one of the most intellectual guests I've seen on Piers Morgan so far. supporting Israel, defending Israel. Look at the stupid look on this Ahmed guy's face. Look at him. Just discounting everything he's saying. Stuff that's literally happened since October 7th.
About another
And his face is like, what? What?
people or group, usually you could get a laugh or two after that. When Jews start getting talked about, it leads to actionable items, violence, not allowing students to go into their class. It leads to a rise, a crazy rise in statistically in anti-Semitism inside of America. So once you say something about this particular group,
What,
it's
you
it's
fucking
very
idiot?
interesting.
What do you mean? What are you shaking your head at? What are you shaking your head at? Yachma, what are you talking about?
How something actually starts to happen, as opposed to when other people make all different type of things, the stereotypical things about other groups, and when it's said about Jews, then all of a sudden there's some actual violence that happens. So this is 100% clout chasing. There are some 50 odd conflicts that's going on in the world, even more than that. I think that the Americans are reporting. Why is this one on every single airway? Everybody's talking about this particular
Because
one.
it's a genocide.
King.
0.2. No, listen. Way more. This is a genocide compared to what happened in Syria. Is this a genocide compared to what's happened in Yemen?
King.
Syria was not a genocide.
King! Nissim, you king, bro. Oh my
There's a
God.
specific
Because I could
definition
say
of
this.
genocide
Because I'm
under
black and I'm Jewish, I could say this. Hold on, Ahmed. I could say this. We watched this 5 years ago with the Black Lives Matter movement. Look at how the world was in chaos, right? Over white on black violence, which was a very, very small amount of cases, but black on black violence, nobody cared. So 500,000 Arabs can die at the hands of other Arabs. And by the way, the number one leading murder of Arabs are Arabs. Just to put that out there.
I'm sorry, as an Arab who is Palestinian, I need to just say, I know. I need to just say,
Bring it home.
you're comparing.
Bring it home, Kappa.
And then all of a sudden, this is what it is.
The broad stroke that you're using, with all due respect, to talk about Arabs as if Syrians and what's happening in Palestine, what happened in Syria was a civil war. What's happening in Palestine is colonization, is land grabs, is annexation, is ethnic cleansing, and it's been happening for decades. That has not been happening in Syria for decades. What happened and what we're discussing
Yes, it has,
did
you
not
idiot.
start on October 7th. Piers,
Absolutely, I
the
agree.
media, Piers, the British media is currently dissecting these videos, the ones that, completely ignore.
Nissim was on a roll there. I am so angry that he had to stop because this idiot is propagandizing pan-Arabist bullshit. Nissim, you are such a mensch. My God, the amount of respect I have for you right now. I have not seen this clip till right now. I'm shocked. I didn't even know he was in this. Wow.
Israeli snipers blowing out children. I mean, there was a 250-page UN report documenting how Israel's elite sharpshooters deliberately targeted children, medics, journalists, and continue to do
And
so.
presumably, though,
One sniper-
presumably,
Let-
okay,
Piers,
Ahmed, presumably,
let me just finish. One
presumably,
sniper
all right,
bragged
okay, Ahmed, let me ask you this. Ahmed,
Piers, a
Ahmed,
sniper
no,
bragged
stop talking
online
for a
about
moment,
shooting
Ahmed. Let me just ask you,
42 kneecaps.
Ahmed,
can't handle
would you
the
like
truth.
to directly tell Hamas right now to release all the Israeli hostages?
No, he doesn't.
No, I wouldn't.
Of course, of course. So there's a
What do you
massive
mean?
double standard. At the heart of
would
your
I-
debate,
Why-
there's a
Piers,
massive
why-
double
Piers,
standard.
Piers, why
You
would I
don't
tell
care
them
how
to-
Jewish people
Piers,
get treated.
Piers,
You
Piers,
only
I don't
care
care-
how,
I
you
don't
only
care how
care
Jewish
how
people get
Palestinians
treated.
get treated.
So did you
If
bring me- did
babies
you
and
bring me
Holocaust
on- did you bring
survivors
me on
get
to talk
kidnapped
about
and taken
Kneecap,
into
or did you bring me
hellhole
on to
tunnels,
give Hamas
you don't
political
care.
advice?
You don't care, do you?
Piers, did you bring me on to give Hamas political advice, or did you give me because what I would say to you, if you think that it's wrong for me not to suggest to Hamas that they should release the hostages, are you aware there are thousands and thousands of hostages, including
what I'm
children,
aware of-
being held in
what I'm
Israeli
aware of-
prisons, being raped,
What I'm aware
being
of is that
sexually
you have an
assaulted
absolute
systematically?
inability. Ahmed, with respect to you, you have an
Piers, if
absolute.
you have-
Ahmed, with respect, you have a chronic inability to answer any straightforward question without immediately playing whataboutery. But what you've
I'm not whataboutery.
hang on,
Piers,
hang
what
on,
Israel is
hang
doing
on,
to the
hang
people
on,
in Gaza
hang
cannot
on,
be
hang
compared
on,
to
stop
what
talking,
Kneecap said on
stop
stage.
talking. What you revealed in your last answer when you said you would not tell Hamas to release the hostages was very telling. And everyone
Okay. I'm
watching
glad you
will
feel
find
that
that
way.
very telling.
I think they
In
should
other
release
words,
the
You're a
you
hostages
don't
terrorist,
care
when Israel
actually
releases the
about anything
thousands of
Hamas has done to
You are a
those
terrorist.
Israelis and
No,
Jews.
I think what Hamas
It's fine.
has
It's
done
fine.
is very...
You can have that position,
Piers, you want
but
to
you've
put words
revealed
in my
that
mouth.
position.
You want to bring me here to do that? Well done.
You know what? I brought you here to debate Kneecap. All you've done is say I shouldn't be talking about a ban. Let me bring in.
I want to talk about
I'm bringing
Kneecap,
another
but
guest now.
I find it so
I'm bringing
strange
another. I know you do.
that we are
You want to
holding
just
a
keep
higher
talking
moral
and run the
standard.
entire
You're an
debate.
idiot. And so is Piers Morgan, by the way. So much respect. Piers Morgan's always flabbergasted when he brings on a literal terrorist and he asks him, "Can you condemn Hamas?" And they're like, and Piers Morgan's like, "What? You won't condemn Hamas?" Of course, he's a terrorist. That is a terrorist on American soil, I'm assuming. And look how the second Nissim Black actually starts talking about something useful. For once, it's the only good conversation I've ever seen on Piers Morgan. The only time where facts were actually delivered. They just yeet away from it. Nissim was on a roll. He was giving the same truth I give on this YouTube channel all day. Do you guys see how hyped I was? My God, I have so much pride in him. That is amazing. We need 1 million Nissim Blacks out there. Bring me on TV sometimes. We need 1 million Nissim Blacks out there. Okay, and if you don't know who Nissim Black is, right now, Nissim Official on Instagram. Go give him a follow. On YouTube as well. Nissim Black, I believe, Official is the channel. He doesn't need any followers from me. But just send him a message if you've only discovered him for the first time. Write him a comment. Let him know Traveling Clat sent you. I love doing this with friends online. And me and him have chatted a little bit in the last year. He's amazing, man. He is an incredible human being. And I'm so much pride there in what he was saying. And the fact that it's being delivered from him with his voice, his life experiences, that's the most important thing right now. And this is the game that I always say Jewish people are not playing. We need 1 million Nissim Blacks. We need 1 million people like me, 1 million Ethiopian Jews out there on TV, out there on Piers Morgan, representing Israel, opening up with ironically talking about the fact that we're white colonizers. It shuts down the fucking conversation. People can't handle it. They don't know what to do with us. Look at how the second he started speaking facts, that other Ahmed guy had to jump in and yeet him away from the facts. The second it started making sense, the second he was saying all the truth, they had to shut it down because it's too much truth. Now imagine if you had that on Rogan. I brought it to Roseanne Barr, but we need to bring it to every podcast, to Lex Friedman. Everybody needs to know. Fox News, CNN, ILTV, I-24. Everybody needs to know about this shit. I'm so proud of Nissim Black, man. That is one of the best executions I've ever seen on talking and the nuance about talking about Israel. Go give him a follow, guys. Tell him that I sent you. Tell him that I said we love him on this community. He's a king, man. He just got the Hall of Fame seat right now on the Traveling Clat channel. I love you guys a long time, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for supporting the channel. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.